We are finding bits and pieces in there from a ship. So is there a ship in the swamp, or are there bits of a ship in the swamp that were used for other things?
For over 2 centuries, a tiny island off the coast of Nova Scotia has held the world captive, a legendary mystery, a bottomless pit of theories, and a treasure that has taken the lives of countless souls, until now. With the History Channel being on board this journey, the search that has captivated millions might have just come to an end, and the secrets that have been dug up will change everything we thought we knew. A gap in the history of the 1970s was about to give rise to one of the era's greatest mysteries. Even more intriguing, the fact that it holds untold treasures has captured the imagination not only of curious minds, but also of those who have seen proof of its legend firsthand. The Curse and the Quest. In the late summer of 1795, a young man named Daniel McGuinness noticed something strange on a small, forested island just off the coast of Nova Scotia. He saw a depression in the earth under an old oak tree, with a large, abandoned pulley hanging from a branch above. It didn't look like any random hole. From what he saw, it looked like someone had been digging. Filled with a sense of adventure, he and his 2 friends began to dig into the hole, and what they found was a carefully constructed pit. Every 10 feet down, they hit a layer of sturdy oak logs, which looked like it had been placed there intentionally to hide something below. After much digging, they managed to dig down about 30 feet before they fell off. The slow-growing fear and a weird feeling of being watched got the better of them. When their emotions finally got the better of them, they stopped. And that was how the mystery of Oak Island officially began. So many years later, right around the early 1800s, a group of men, known as the Onslow Company, picked up where McGuinness left off. Unlike McGuinness and his friends, these guys were much more organized and determined to find what was buried underneath the logs. They dug even deeper, and at 90 feet, they found a flat stone with a strange and unclear inscription. Just as they were getting excited about what was beneath it, their worst nightmare came to be. In a matter of minutes, the pit began to fill with water that seemed to come from nowhere. No matter how much they bailed, the water kept rising. While trying to slow down the water pressure, they discovered an incredibly complex system of man-made flood tunnels designed to protect the treasure. This clever booby trap would become the nemesis of every treasure hunter for the next 2 centuries. The next 200 years of the Oak Island story have been filled with heartbreak and relentless obsession. So much so that companies like the Truro Company and the Oak Island Association poured millions of dollars and countless hours into the quest, only to get nothing. The island soon became a graveyard of dreams, and, quite literally, a real graveyard too. In one of the conquests, 6 men lost their lives in pursuit of the treasure, giving rise to the horrifying legend that 7 lives must be lost before the treasure is found. Yet, despite the failures and the tragic cost, the mysterious attraction of the island never faded. The mystery just kept pulling people in, promising riches and history with every shovel of dirt. Fast forward to the early 2000s, and another quest for what lay hidden in the hole began. 2 brothers, Rick and Marty Lagina, were captivated by the legend after reading a magazine article when they were kids. Unlike the others, they came with modern technology and a willingness to try anything. They bought a significant portion of the island and brought with them a team of experts, advanced drilling rigs, and sophisticated sonar equipment. They were determined to solve the mystery once and for all, bringing the hunt into the 21st century. For years we watched as the Laginas and their team painstakingly pieced together clues, but every step forward seemed to lead to another dead end. But the signs were there all along, hiding in plain sight. What if the most significant discovery was not what they were looking for, but where they were looking? For over 200 years, the hole, which was now termed the Money Pit, was the main attraction. The search for its secrets consumed countless lives and fortunes. Meanwhile, in a muddy corner of the island, a swamp, which soon became an area of interest after more than decades of intense searching. For centuries, people just thought it was a natural marsh, a place full of murky water and thick mud. But the Lagina brothers and their team weren't convinced. So to check it out, they incorporated technological equipment like advanced sonar scans of the swamp, which revealed nothing that could lead them to believe they were anywhere near treasures. Beneath the surface and hidden in the mud was a massive, man-made object shaped suspiciously like a ship. This discovery was a game changer and a huge change from their initial thoughts. The team figured out the money pit might have just been a distraction and the main booby trap designed to keep people busy while the real secret lay elsewhere. The decision to drain the swamp was the first huge step in the right direction, but it wasn't easy at all. It was a difficult engineering task that required heavy machinery and a whole new plan. They had to construct a massive dam and pump out millions of gallons of water, a sight that was almost unbelievable to watch. As the water receded, the swamp began to reveal its long-held secrets.
Marked and indicated, and with the anchor, we can triangulate the location of the money pit.
Under all the thick piles of mud, the team found something incredible. They uncovered ancient timbers and a series of large cut stones that obviously weren't naturally formed, and that wasn't the only interesting thing they found. There was also evidence of a huge vessel, maybe even a ship, that had been buried there. The wood was too old to be from a recent ship, and the way it was arranged suggested it was part of a larger structure. What they found wasn't just old junk, but the first solid, verifiable evidence of a major human-made structure on the island that wasn't the money pit. Apart from uncovering what this hole held, Rick particularly had hoped to tell the full story of Oak Island, and his hopes came alive when a film production company, Prometheus Entertainment, reached out to them. Since they were involved in the idea of hunting for treasures, they pitched the concept to the History Channel, and the show The Curse of Oak Island premiered in 2014. The show has become an instant hit since then, and is now in its 12th season, having been able to center around a mystery that has captivated millions with its fusion of history, treasure finds, and advanced technology. The show's success wasn't because of the potential finds or about Rick and Marty. It was mostly about their team, who are known as the Fellowship of the Dig. All of these factors were what made the show a good watch, and in no time, what they were able to find would forever be a part of one of the greatest gifts of history. Groundbreaking finds at Smith's Cove. The search for treasure on Oak Island was always a battle against the floods, the failures, and the island's many secrets. The greatest secret might not be a hidden chest at all, but the very structures built to protect it. The Lagina brothers and their team zeroed in on Smith's Cove, an area long believed to be connected to the money pit's flood tunnels. To get a real look, they built a massive steel wall, an engineering marvel called a cofferdam, to hold back the ocean. For the first time in over a century, the team could excavate the area and get to the bottom of the mystery. What they found was absolutely mind-blowing. They unearthed a sophisticated system of wooden box drains and another U-shaped structure, all carefully constructed to funnel seawater into the money pit. This discovery proved that the legend of the flood trap was real, and the island was a much more elaborate engineering project than anyone had ever imagined. Then there was the find that made everyone's jaw drop. Gary Drayton, one of the team members, with his metal detector, caught a signal when he was walking on the beach. He decided to dig into the sand, and when he did, he pulled out a small cross, and it wasn't just any old cross. When experts took a look at it, they found out that it was made of lead from southern France and was dated to the 13th or 14th century, long before Columbus ever sailed to the Americas. This discovery instantly fueled speculation about a Knights Templar connection and suggested that people from medieval Europe once stepped foot on the island. That alone was enough for them to dig more, and as you'd expect, they found more strange things. The finds revealed man-made stone walls and other old timbers that looked like they could have been a slipway or a structure for a ship. The finds in Smith's Cove pushed the island's history back hundreds of years, but the most compelling and potentially decisive evidence was yet to come, and it wasn't an artifact at all, but pure science. For decades, the search for treasure on Oak Island was all about digging and finding artifacts. It was all about what you could hold in your hand. But what if the most convincing evidence wasn't an old coin or a wooden beam, but something invisible? That's when Dr. Ian Spooner, a brilliant geologist, entered the picture. Dr. Spooner brought a brand new approach to the hunt. He wasn't interested in digging for treasures. He was interested in the science of the island. He used hydrogeology to study the water flowing beneath the ground and took careful soil samples to analyze them for anything out of the ordinary. Dr. Spooner's research was a huge moment for the team because he discovered something that no one had ever found before. Water samples from deep in the money pit area that were taken for analysis and a series of testing showed surprisingly high amounts of gold and silver. This wasn't another unconfirmed theory. This was the hard scientific proof they all needed. Dr. Spooner himself even pointed out specific spots where these blobs of precious metals were most concentrated. The data he provided was the first ever real, undeniable proof that treasure wasn't just a legend, but was actually located somewhere deep beneath the island. With this new information, the team had a clear target. They zeroed in on a specific spot where Dr. Spooner's data showed the highest concentrations of precious metals. They called it the baby blob, and it gave them a tangible target to focus on after so many years of guessing. This scientific discovery, combined with carbon dating of old wood and other objects, consistently showed that major human activity happened on Oak Island hundreds of years before the first searchers ever arrived. Timbers from Smith's Cove and other areas were consistently dated to the 1300s, 1400s, and 1500s. These scientific facts validated the old theories and gave the team more reason to believe that a group with incredible resources and a deep secret had been on the island centuries ago. All of these confirmed that the original legend was true. The scientific data was a game changer, giving the team a real target after years of searching. This new focus led to one of their most audacious and challenging engineering projects to date. The scientific data from Dr. Spooner gave the team a specific spot to focus on after so many years. This led to their most ambitious project yet, the building of the garden shaft. It was a major engineering project, which was almost like building a skyscraper upside down. The idea was to dig a huge, reinforced shaft deep into the ground, bypassing all the old flood tunnels and dangers of the money pit. They were determined to get to the baby blob of gold and silver once and for all. But as always on Oak Island, things were never easy, and just like the searchers of centuries ago, the team faced one obstacle after another. Plus, the volume of water flooding into the shaft made building the shaft overwhelming. They were constantly trying to pump out the water, but it seemed to be a losing battle. The walls of the shaft would collapse, and the heavy drilling equipment would get stuck in layers of sticky clay and hard anhydrite. These setbacks once again reminded them of the island's powerful defenses, and in spite of that, the determination to find what was at the end of these obstacles was what kept them going. Also, they spent a lot of time trying to find the legendary borehole 10X, which was another key part of the island's mystery that some believed held the ultimate prize.
Some 10 feet below, which runs westward toward the baby blob.
In the end, what they recovered from the garden shaft and the other boreholes was only a mix of progress and continued mystery. They found more of the legendary wooden platforms and some intriguing artifacts, like bits of pottery and metal. But the treasure itself, the chest of gold and silver they had so hoped for, was not found. Even after relying on the scientific data to a specific spot, the treasure was still only a fragment of their imagination. But still, all of the obstacles they faced confirmed that there was something big down there. But it also showed how difficult it was to get to it. As the search continues, the team has expanded its efforts beyond the money pit. With new research and discoveries, it may seem as though the entire island, and even the surrounding waters, may hold the key to getting closer to the treasure. The swamp and beyond. After years of focusing almost exclusively on the money pit and its surrounding areas, the team decided it was a good idea to look at the island with a different perspective. After a long and thorough search of the swamp, which they initially believed to be nothing more than a natural marsh, the piece of the ship they found was one of the most interesting finds they had come across. How could something as big as a ship be placed into a hole so deep that it took over 300 years to be discovered? Even though it wasn't the treasure chest they had hoped to find, the ship could have been either of two things. The ship had secrets that could lead to the exact location of the treasure, or it was such a clue letting them know they were digging in the right direction. Either way, it was proof that something significant was buried there. and it wasn't part of the money pit at all. This discovery led to a full-scale archaeological dig in the swamp. The team, guided by archaeologists, began the careful process of excavating the site. The old pile of timbers, after a series of testing, suggested that they could have been the remnants of a Spanish galleon, a type of large sailing ship used by the Spanish Empire. This discovery gave more weight to the theories of early European explorers hiding a treasure on the island, making the legend of Oak Island feel realer than it ever was. The Lagina team's success and expertise, especially with advanced technology and historical research, didn't stop at Oak Island. They started a spin-off show called Beyond Oak Island and soon released Tales from Oak Island, which premiered November 2024. More recently, the team has been busy with even more discoveries. They've been digging on Lot 5 and have found some interesting things that could be related to the money pit's flood tunnels. They've also been analysing a strange tunnelling tool that could be from another century. On top of that, they are still hunting for new historical documents that could hold even more clues about the original builders of the money pit. The search is far from over, and the story of Oak Island continues to be written. But beyond the artifacts and the technology, the real story is about the men and women who have dedicated their lives to this pursuit. After years of chasing shadows and rumours, the team has now gathered a remarkable collection of evidence. The discoveries at Smith's Cove and also scientific proof from Dr. Spooner's tests. When you put all of these pieces together, along with the huge ship-like anomaly in the swamp, it's clear that Oak Island is home to a mystery far bigger and more intentional than just a buried pirate chest. All of these clues have given new life to the enduring theories about who created the money pit. Could it be Captain Kidd, a famous pirate known for burying his treasure who left behind a deadly trap? Or was it the Knights Templar, a secret society who, according to some theories, escaped to the New World with their most sacred riches? The lead cross with its French origin seems to strongly suggest this. There are even theories that the British military used the island for a secret operation. Each theory now has a piece of real evidence to back it up, making the truth harder to pinpoint, but also much more exciting. The intellectual heart of the hunt has always been the war room, a place where the team gathers to consolidate all of their information. It's where old maps are laid out next to modern sonar scans, and where every find is discussed in detail. These meetings show the team's careful planning and their belief that the answer isn't always at the end of a drill bit, but in the connections between the clues. This collaborative spirit, as well as their dedication to solving the puzzle and finding a centuries-old treasure chest, is what has made the show so captivating to watch. In the end, while the team has found a lot, the island's biggest secret is still hidden. The treasure, whatever form it takes, continues to wait, but the hope for the future is stronger than ever. The team has a better understanding of the island's defenses and a clear idea of where to look. Still, the hunt continues, and it is driven by the hope that one day the final secret of Oak Island will be revealed. The hunt might be over, but the story is just beginning. What do you believe the next great discovery will be? Tell us in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on our channel so you never miss any of our uploads. If you enjoyed this video, click on the next video on your screen to watch more videos like this one.